Hello! I just realized this is my fourth video and I don't really introduce myself in any of the other videos except maybe the first one, so I'm gonna start to try to do that. Those of you who are new here, my name is Claire. This is Crime and Calligraphy with Claire, where I tell true crime stories while working on a piece of calligraphy art. Sometimes the calligraphy is related, sometimes it isn't. It's just sort of something to do while I'm talking about true crime. Two of my interests are calligraphy and true crime, so I just kind of put them together. I hope you guys enjoy. I'm keeping my semi-promise and posting my second video this month, even though February is crazy short, and a couple of weeks ago we had this horrible nutso winter storm. You might have heard about it in the news. We didn't have reliable power most of the week. School was canceled. We had a boil water boil water order, and it snowed twice in a week, and it doesn't really snow here, so like I said, nutso. Last time we talked about Leo Narvaez. He was a nasty piece of work, and yikes, it was kind of heavy. So for today I picked kind of a silly, lighthearted story where no one gets hurt, because I think I like the pattern of one heavy, one lighter story each month. It's weird how talking about the stories this way kind of makes me feel the impact of them much more than just talking about them with friends or family, but sure enough, it can be emotionally draining to really get into the stories. So today's story is a lighthearted true crime story that I'm calling The Great Stolen Shark Caper. It's still a pretty interesting story, even though there's no blood or guts or gore. At least I thought it was interesting. With that being said, that means today's story is kid and family friendly. So if you have kids who like to hear crime stories but nothing too intense, gather the family around the phone or laptop or TV and hearken to my tale. The reason that I picked this story is because for the first time in forever, cue the Frozen music, I got to get out of the house and do something fun. A couple weeks ago, I got my second dose of the COVID vaccine, so I now feel safer venturing out of the house a bit more. I still wear my mask, but I now know I'm more protected by the vaccine and my mask. Anyway, one of my best friends was having her baby's first birthday party at the local aquarium, and I decided to bring my nephew with me. He's 5 and he loves animals, so I knew he'd have a blast. And for me, going alone would have been weird or odd for me because I'm just kind of awkward. My husband doesn't leave the house still. He's getting his second vaccine in a couple weeks. Long story short, I had been telling my mom that I was going to the aquarium with my nephew, and she said, "Oh, did you hear about the shark that was stolen from the aquarium?" And I almost couldn't believe it because it just seemed so silly. But I looked it up, and sure enough, it's true. Okay, so a couple things about our aquarium. Our aquarium is kind of a random thing because it was built from the bones of an old car dealership, I think. It's not comparable to like the Georgia State Aquarium or something like that, but it's a pretty neat place for kids and families. They have several touch tanks with creatures like koi, stingrays, other fish, and even small sharks. You're allowed to feed most of these animals and touch them, and they're made accessible for kids to reach. Well, back in July of 2018, a trio of people the papers jokingly called Oceans 3, get it? Oceans, sharks. Yeah, I know, cheesy. Anyway, these 3 people, a married couple, including a man named Antone Shannon, and a neighbor visited the aquarium, but they weren't just there to see the animals and feed the stingrays. Nay. They had some rather nefarious intentions indeed. Security footage caught the trio using a fish net that they had brought with them to lift a 16-inch long horn shark named Miss Helen up out of the touch pool and into, get this, a baby stroller, where they had hidden a container of water. The water that Miss Helen was swimming in originally was 76 degrees Fahrenheit, but the container of water that they brought with them was only 52 degrees Fahrenheit. Quite a bit chillier. Experts at the aquarium later reported that they worried that this transition would have killed her, but luckily, Miss Helen proved to be a pretty tough cookie. Now, here's where things get interesting. So it can be kind of crowded and chaotic in the aquarium from my experience. So the trio was actually not immediately caught. They actually made it out to their car in the parking lot before being stopped by employees who tried to search their stroller. But they refused, claiming that their baby was sick and needed medication, so they wouldn't allow the employees to search them, and then they left. They left and drove all the way home with the shark. Apparently, Antone had an affinity for saltwater creatures because he had a tank with other ocean animals at his home, and he transferred Miss Helen into that tank when he arrived home. One report said that he had actually visited the aquarium previously as a quality control tester so that he could test the water's levels and replicate them in his home tank. I guess this guy did his homework. Luckily, the aquarium was able to call police and show them the surveillance footage of the trio snatching the shark, leaving the aquarium, and the license plate number of their vehicle, so they were tracked down pretty quickly. First, Antone tried to pass off a doctored receipt for the shark, but eventually caved to a confession once he saw the evidence against him, including photographs and surveillance images. He claimed that he stole her to replace a previous horned shark that he'd owned that had died. I mean, maybe just buy one. Miss Helen was valued at between $2,000 and $3,000, and Mr. Antone Shannon was charged with a state felony for theft of property and faces additional charges because the officers that searched his house suspected that some of the other animals that he owned may not be allowed to be owned by normal people. So maybe that's why he didn't buy a shark. Who knows? So, that is the story of the Great Stolen Shark Caper. I found it very interesting because I like stories that are a little bit odd and out of the ordinary. Plus, it was big enough for the New York Times to pick up. Pretty cool to see my town getting national recognition, even if it is for something kind of dumb. As promised, I want to honor the victims in this story, and today's victim was, of course, Miss Helen the Shark. So in her honor, I created a piece of calligraphy featuring song lyrics that we all know and love, or maybe loathe, Baby Shark. Miss Helen was last they checked doing fine despite her traumatic experience. Also, I would like to share with those of you who are subscribers that I'm currently expecting my own baby shark, or hopefully baby human, because a shark would be somewhat freaky to birth and raise. I'm very excited, but it definitely adds to my hectic life. So if I'm unable to post like I want to, well, you know why. But I'm going to try. If you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe so that I can make more videos. Thank you to my new subscribers, and I hope that there will be more to greet next time. As always, please live well, don't steal sharks, and have a great evening. Bye-bye!